For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini, researcher and analyst. Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss ways in which we can stop xenophobia. Welcome, Professor.
Hello, thank you.
Your account of the xenophobic attacks and state reactions is sharply in contrast with that of government ministers.
Yes, it's in contrast because I don't think that what they are saying they are doing is actually true. What they did is they said nothing when the king made his original statements that many people saw as inciting people to attack foreigners. They did nothing about it until various African states voiced their opposition, which is unprecedented. States like Malawi people coming into the streets, people withdrawing South African workers from Mozambique because of the anger in the area. And government then did what they thought was dramatic things. They embarked on Operation Fiela. And the problem I have with Operation Fiela, if it is described as an attempt to deal with the xenophobia, it is in fact, in my view, actually carrying out state xenophobic actions. Because what Operation Fiela describes, and the word I understand means to clean out, which also resonates with the king's reputed use of lice, cleaning out the lice. Now, Fiela is also sweep clean, and they lump together a whole lot of things that have got to be addressed. Drug trafficking and so forth is put there together with undocumented migrants. So what the government is doing, even in their own official statement, is creating the perception that being an undocumented migrant, or an alleged one, because many of these people, in my view, are in the process of trying to regularize their stay. But what they are doing in the eyes of the public is actually creating the perception that being an undocumented migrant is very similar to being a drug trafficker or all sorts of fraudulent and illegal activities. And I would argue that this is a very, very different category of situation. Also, what they have done is they have more or less invaded a number of areas and arrested people. Now, some of these areas had not been places where there'd been any xenophobic attacks at all, like Thembelihle, for example. There had been no such thing, but they went there. And they also have attacked areas where poor South Africans have lived, and many South Africans have been arrested allegedly as being illegal foreign migrants. And they've been arrested in the middle of the night often, with women and children not having proper clothing, not having blankets to cover them. And I think that it is quite shameful what has been done. And what they have tried to do is to show, as one newspaper said, that they are gutful and they are going to stand for no nonsense, and this sort of tough action is actually being wreaked against the victims. It is not being wreaked against the people who have been perpetrators of xenophobic actions or incitement. And the problem about expecting the government to do this is that government itself has been complicit in the xenophobic incitement. You have ministers like Nomvula Mokunyane, Deputy Minister Tabete, who have referred in derogatory terms to Asian traders and foreign migrant traders. You've got Lindiwe Zulu saying more or less that if these people want to stay, they must share their trade secrets. Now, I mean, their trade secrets are really not secrets. They are that they work extraordinarily hard hours, long hours, and for the township dwellers, they actually are more convenient than many of the local South African traders, because they extend credit. If you want to buy one cigarette, not a packet, they'll do it. And these people have come from desperate situations. They want to make sure that they succeed. And they also buy cooperatively. They combine so that they can get goods at a lower price and sell at a lower price. I think with all of this, we must draw a distinction between individuals who loot. Now, after a shop has been firebombed or something, there's a lot of goods there. Now, ordinary people who are very poor often go and take those. But they are not the instigators. They are performing what one can call opportunistic looting. You need resources to carry out an attack. And in many cases, you see you need transport, and the people come there with Molotov cocktails, things like that. So I think it's wrong for some people to refer to ill-disciplined youths and ill-disciplined individuals. The people who carry this out have power, and they also have the tacit acceptance in many cases of the police and the other government officials.
And what do you think of the civil society efforts to protest the xenophobia?
You see, when you don't have government leadership saying to people, let's say amongst the ordinary people, I'm sure there's a lot of racism or xenophobic attitudes. And when you don't have the government, the leaders, leading and saying, no, no, this is not right. We are a democratic society. All people have rights. Then it's very important that organs of civil society like the Consortium for Refugees and Migrants, which organized a march a few weeks back, it's very important work that they're doing. The fact that they engaged the Gauteng government, they engage faith-based organizations, they engage unions. Some of the unions are at loggerheads with one another on other things, but they came together on this march. Now that is a very important example of the power of citizens and non-citizens who are foreign migrants coming on a march like this, showing that we don't have to look only to government to resolve the problems of this country, and in this case, a very dire problem. So I think that that consortium has set an example of what can be done. It's not the first time this has been done in South African history. It's going back to a long tradition of uniting a range of people to deal with a scourge like xenophobia, and to remind people of the humanity, the common humanity that we share with all who live in this country, all who walk on our streets. That is why I quoted in my article the Freedom Charter saying South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Now, it doesn't mean that non-citizens can get social welfare benefits and things like that, but they are entitled to all the protections of anyone who walks in these streets.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about xenophobia.